this episode of The Federal's Worldly Wise, where we decode international developments. Canada's political landscape is on the verge of a change following Justin Trudeau's resignation as Prime Minister and the leader of the Liberal Party. Trudeau's resignation was not unexpected and has come after internal wranglings within the Liberal Party. A strong opposition within the party took shape over the last few weeks, and all this after opinion polls showed Trudeau as hugely unpopular and the possibility of the opposition Conservatives coming to power in the next elections. For India's Modi government, Trudeau's exit is a relief in the context of the unprecedented spat with the Canadian Prime Minister over the Khalistan issue and related killings. Let's discuss why Trudeau quit, what it means for India, etc., with the Federal's managing editor K.S. Dakshinamurthy, who closely tracks international issues. Thank you for joining us, sir. My first question to you is Trudeau's popularity dropped to its lowest levels, with many Canadians unhappy with his leadership. So, why did people actually lose faith in Trudeau?
Justin Trudeau took over office in 2015 from the Conservatives, promising all round real change socially, economically, and politically. He did succeed in walking the talk, though partially. His was an inclusive government with half of his cabinet police comprising women, which is quite unprecedented. His politics was seen as fair minded and reformist. The liberal approach was clearly visible when he restored full funding for the public broadcaster, CBC Radio Canada. His government's dole to citizens during the COVID pandemic was also well appreciated. But as time went on, the anti incumbency started to build against his leadership. Though the government's gesture in helping people monetarily was appreciated, the tight lockdown and its strict enforcement triggered resentment. In the post COVID period, the economy took time to recover. In fact, it has not recovered adequately since then. Prices have gone up, inflation is up, and the economy is staring at a crisis. All this has added to Trudeau's negatives. So his popularity fell to a point where his continuation in office became untenable.
Okay, my next question is about India and Canada relationship. So, India and Canada have faced tensions under Trudeau's leadership, especially on the Khalistan issue. Will Trudeau's resignation have a bearing on India-Canada relationship?
The Modi government will be tempted to heave a sigh of relief at Trudeau's exit. Under him, over the last more than 1 year, India Canada relationship has hit its lowest point in the last 8 decades. Trudeau publicly accused Indian agents as being responsible for the killing of Khalistani activist Hardeep Singh Nijjar in Canada. The Prime Minister appeared to be backing Canadian claims that the killing could go up to India's top political leadership, causing huge embarrassment in New Delhi. The resulting tension in relationships has been unprecedented. Trudeau did not stop at merely making these allegations. He legally restricted the number of Indian students and migrants into Canada. So there was a big spillover into what is traditionally a very strong India Canada relationship in terms of people exchange. Several rules that facilitated Indian students' entry to into Canada were removed, making it that much more difficult for these sections. Diplomats from both countries were asked to leave, their numbers came down. The optics completely changed the historical bonhomie that existed between the two nations. Of course, we cannot be sure that the exit of Trudeau will change anything. Whoever is his successor could act differently, and that brings hope to the mutual relationship. But the allegations of a foreign country killing Canadian citizens on their soil is a serious issue, and that may not go away with the change of guard. However, there are several ways to deal with the ticklish issue other than the manner in which Trudeau handled it. So, New Delhi will be hoping there will be more discreetness and diplomatic sensitivity in the way some agreement can be arrived at between Canada and India, away from public glare.
The Liberal Party itself is struggling in polls and is far behind the Conservatives ahead of the next election, which is to happen October this year. So, with Trudeau stepping aside, how ready is the Liberal Party to take on the upcoming election, and who do you think could replace him as leader?
Whatever reports are coming, it seems the Liberal Party is really down in the dump. In fact, it may probably not be able to recover, though there is a kind of a feeling within the Liberal Party that a change of guard may help it to some extent, because the conservatives are really riding in terms of popularity. Their popularity is almost double that of the Liberal Party. So the other party, the New Democratic Party, which was an ally of the Liberal Party, even that is more or less similar to the Liberal Party, but the conservatives are way ahead. So it looks like, unless something dramatic happens soon, that there will be the conservatives are coming back to power. And within the Liberal Party, there are several people, in fact, a handful of people who are staking claim to take over from Trudeau. But the funny part is that there is also a little bit of hesitation, because nobody, they are not very sure whether they want to take over as the replacement for Trudeau, because the opinion polls are so low, they will end up actually losing elections. So there is an element of confusion within the Liberal Party. At the same time, obviously, there are people who are willing, but it's a little too early to definitively say who is coming as the front runner. There are several names that are floating, of course.
My last question to you is Trudeau's decision to resign marks the end of a big chapter in Canada's politics, but it also raises many questions about what comes next. So, what does Trudeau's resignation mean for Canada's future?
See, when Trudeau took over power, he was a very strongly wedded to the liberal ethos. So that is why he said that his government will bring in real change. And there was a lot of emphasis on social spending, on welfareism. So that is one of the reasons why the public broadcaster was encouraged. There was also, Trudeau was in power. Trump in the U.S. During his first term was talking about how they're going to deport illegal immigrants and all that. But what Trudeau did was, he said that whoever is being persecuted, whatever, if they have genuine problems, the doors of Canada is always open for them. But the resulting entry of migrants into Canada, looking for some kind of an opportunity in employment and for political freedom, etc., etc., it triggered a kind of a backlash within Canada. And slowly, after some time, Canada again started restricting the entry of migrants. So there was also, while his intentions were good, there was also a certain amount of confusion in the way he wanted to deal with it. If you take COVID, for instance, the kind of money that the Canadian government gave its citizens who are in difficulty because of the pandemic and the shutdown, was also at the same time not able to handle things smoothly, in the sense that the laws, the rules were so strict that it caused a lot of resentment. The shutdown, the restrictions, etc., it triggered a kind of a resentment against Trudeau. And so what can happen is that once if the conservatives come to power as expected, many of these things might change, and you may find Canada again moving a little more to the right than what Trudeau was attempting. So you will find some kind of a status quo or a pre-Trudeau situation coming back to Canada. And of course, let's not forget that Trump 2.0 is just about to happen, and the US will be led by Trump. And the implications of Trump and the effect it will have on Canada is something that we cannot say, because Trump has already been talking. No one knows how serious he is, but he's taunting Canada as the 51st state of the US, and he's in fact suggesting that Canada should join the US. So these are bizarre kind of statements that Trump is making. So it's going to be a challenging time for Canada to in the post Trudeau period.
Thank you for your input, sir. Viewers, for more such analysis, stay tuned with the Federal.